So you can see that we're going to make some wounds today, and I'm going to use some scar wax. So you can see that I've got some cine wax, I have got some spirit gum, some alcohol paints, some bruise wheel, some blood, some powder and some Vaseline. So your scar wax, I'm going to just scrape some out the pot. I'm using a little spatula there, and I'm going to manipulate it in my hands to kind of warm it up. I'm going to pop some spirit gum onto the area where I would like it to stick. I'm going to let that go tacky, and then I will place my wax onto there, pushing it down. I'm going to use a little spatula, and I'm just going to really play with the product. I'm going to push the wax into the skin. It looks a wee bit messy at first, and this takes ages to get the actual really nice blend, but persevere with it because your wound will look so much better. A little bit of Vaseline, I'm just going to pop it inside of my hand because I'm doing this on myself and it is a bit tricky. So popping it on the side and just using my finger, the heat of my finger and the wax and the Vaseline all kind of work really well together, and they'll really soften the edges without any harsh lines. Working down both sides evenly so you don't get one side that's too heavy than the other. It's a labour of love, guys. So once you're happy with how your wax is blended onto the skin, you can now go in with your sculpting tool and you can begin to carve into the wax. This is going to create the slash effect on the skin. So go nice and slowly, don't rush, taking off any excess that might drag your product. And once you're happy, then you can kind of push in the edges. So now I'm just going to dust a little bit of Face and Body foundation from MAC. It's a nice kind of skin tint, so it's just taking away the kind of paleness of the sculpting wax. So it just blends into my skin a little bit easier. You could also use like Skin Illustrator palettes, they're ideal, but because we won't have them at home, I thought we'd be using our kind of grease paint products, maybe a bit easier for us. So as you can see, I'm using the kind of red tone, very purple bruise wheel colour, and I'm just kind of darkening that into the cut itself to create a little bit of texture and depth. Adding a little bit more as we go. Now I'm going to add a little bit of blood in there. So I'm using a kind of coagulated blood, so it's a little bit thicker, not too runny. I don't want this to be a messy effect. I want to see the nice kind of thick slice that I've accidentally hurt on my hand. So less blood is actually more effective sometimes. If I was to go in and kind of pour blood all over that, you just lose all the work that's actually been put into that. So a nice kind of clean slice is a really effective way to show your skills. So there we go. You can see it's blended into the skin. You can see there's texture in the cut. You can see it's raised off the skin. So now, while my cut was there, I thought I'd just kind of show you the aging process of a cut. So I've just wiped off the excess blood that I popped on there, and I'm using a clean sponge and I'm just pushing the skin, well, the wax, together, kind of showing you how it would heal. Now, if I had some steri strips at home, I would have popped a couple over the top of this as well, which would have looked quite good, but I'm afraid I don't have any here. So again, just kind of working it, pushing it down, pushing it down. I could stitch it, but I've not got enough wax really to kind of pull a stitch through. It's definitely not a staple job, is it? Again, a little tiny bit of Vaseline, just taking off any excess blood. There we go. And then finally, just the kind of scar process that we spoke about. So the scar would be quite pale in the skin, slightly lighter, slightly raised almost, I think, just because of the texture of the cut. So there we go. So I've just kind of placed that into that. It would obviously be about a year later.